Hey, what is going on, guys? Tony here. Big day. RC Conspiracies is here. We got some stuff to talk about, and I'm excited about it. Lots to talk about. A couple of cool things. I'll be with you in just a second. If you're tuning in later, I'll put a time code in there. Lets you know right when to begin and skip to get things started. Hold tight for 1 second.
Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony CC. Tony CC. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
Hey, what is going on, guys? What a Monday it has been already. Woke up to some news from Horizon Hobby. Got a little email from them saying that they had some new announcement for us, and that was that they had partnered with, acquired, bought, purchased, I don't know exactly what, but they now are owners of Proline Racing, which is crazy news. It means good things, I think, for both companies, because Horizon has a huge network for worldwide distribution, as well as, you know, lots of marketing money in that that could really help out somebody like Proline, get them out there. And what Proline has is they've got U.S. manufacturing, really quality products, and it's just a great brand to have alongside. Plus, you know, extra bodies can be made for some of their vehicles, for aftermarket. I mean, it's really, the possibilities are endless. But let's go ahead and we'll take a look at a few of those things, guys, and then we'll jump over to some big news from Traxxas today. They did not want to be left out of all the news that was going on, and so they went and announced their Hoss 4x4X VXL. It's a 3S version of kind of the Max, I guess. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's exactly that easy to say what it is. It looks like some of the parts are kind of like slashish. I don't know. So we're going to take a look at that today, and we'll kind of compare that as well. I've got a tab open here that does have the Max as well. Whoop, those are both the Hoss. That looked silly. The Max. So we'll take a look at both of these. The first thing, though, is the Horizon website having this announcement, which, interestingly enough, is a Traxxas UDR on the Horizon Hobby homepage. And that's because it's the Heatwave setup that Proline did, which is super sick looking. And Yeah, what do you guys think in the comments? I'm going to jump to the comments here in just a second. Start letting me know what you think, and I'm going to jump over here. But, yeah, I mean, what a day. What a day. So they announced this. You click through, and there's they tell you kind of a little bit about it. They're going to keep running out of the Proline offices. So I think it'll be like business as normal for the most part there. So if you read this, you'll be able to find some of that out. But over 38 years of providing innovative products. That's crazy. So they get all this innovation now coming into the Horizon brand, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's jump over here. I want to hear what you guys have to say because I woke up and I'm like, holy cow, what is this news? This is pretty cool. I'm liking this. And for both companies. All right. Hey, Dad says, just caught your lunch break at just the right time. Awesome. I'm just catching mine as well. Not going to be eating much for it, I don't think. And I've got this display stuff all up on the shot, huh? Maybe it'll go away. Here, give me 1 second to fix it. Technology, eh? I tell you what, some days. All right, it fixed it. I don't know what mode it got into. I was renting my camera out, so some of the settings came back a little different. Net Cruiser says you've only seen it from the North American perspective, but Proline, they do have great marketing, I think, as well. And I think that their design stuff that they do has been awesome. And they show up at all the events. They have Proline by the Fire, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I would agree that they did have pretty good marketing. Mark Harrell says a new Stampede. Kind of. Show off high. All right, so Net Cruiser says it looks like a taller Rustler 4x4. I think it looks like a smaller version Max / taller version Rustler as well. Ronnie Creason wants to know, am I going to buy the 8S Outcast? And right now, I'm not going to. It's not in my plans. I have a lot of big cars already, and I don't have room for it in my garage, in my stable. If I sold one, maybe. All right, okay. It just jumped down. Everything RC says cheapo max, but is it? It's a 3S version, and it's still $479. So it's like $70 cheaper, but it doesn't have the really tall tower brace things like the Max has. And so let's get in. We'll get into some of that because there are some questions I have about that and being cheaper. Hey Dad, RC says, I'm intrigued by the Hoss, a 3S machine, I'd guess, done by Traxxas to keep up with Arma's excellent 3S lineup. I'm wondering, will their retail compete with Arma? Well, if you look at it apples to apples, which you can't really, but if it's close now, 3S lineups, the Arma 3S lineups are how much money? And this one is how much money? I need to see the prices again. I thought I saw that this said $479. Yeah, right here, $479. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the price when it hits the dealers or if that's their recommended price. But that's $150 more than a 3S Arma. So people that love Traxxas and will spend the extra money, I could see them doing that. Somebody new getting into the hobby, unless they're really pushed by the dealership to go one brand over another, I think it's hard to say that somebody new getting into the hobby would choose that at the price. And if I were the hobby shop, I might say, well, why don't you just save an extra $70 and get the 4S version? But it's interesting because they both go 60 plus miles an hour. One's 3S, one's 4S. So do you need the 4S because then the batteries are more expensive? There's a lot of question marks that introducing this into the market as they've done raises, in my mind, at the price point that it's at. If it's not that much less than the Max, does this one say that the Max isn't good enough? Or is a weird... I thought the Max was kind of a weird beast anyway, but it's 4S. It's $70 more. I think the chassis looks better, but I don't know. I mean, until I see this and can give a real perspective, I have questions. It raises more questions than it answers for me as far as where it fits in the market or where then the Max fits in the market. And then the eRevo, their lineup to me is kind of an interesting mashup of prices and features in some ways. So they've reduced the power, but it also looks like they've reduced the chassis bracing and some of that you get with the Max at this price point. But I would think that would have brought the price down lower. I mean, I would have shot for $429 or something. I mean, even then you're $100 more than the 3S lineup. All right, let's get back to you guys, and then we'll look at this thing. Because I'm not showing pictures. We're just kind of thinking out loud right now. So, yeah, these are questions. Would it be Hoss versus Granite? I don't know what you would put this against based on price. Because based on price, you'd put this against the 4S lineup of the Armas. But I don't think you'd do it based on price. Because it looks like a Granite to me as far as finally like the lower sitting chassis and that. I wonder if the wide kit will fit on this as well. If parts from the Max will fit. I don't know. These are questions I have. All right, so you guys are saying, I guess Hoss will use Traxxas battery connectors. Of course, RC Addicts Garage it will. We've got, yeah, so Net Cruiser has the link. I will post the link as well because I am on it. And I don't know if his links will go or not. I can't tell within StreamYard who's administrators or not. Ronnie Creason, I love all brands. I love RC Hobby, man. So I'm with you. For a long time, the X-Max was my favorite RC car. I started with the Stampede. I have a Slash. I now have a Traxxas street outlaw style, like no prep car that's pretty awesome. So I'm not like anti-Traxxas. I'm anti-pricing, I think. on the latest two releases, I've had a hard time swallowing. And I did it. I paid for the Max, and I've actually got parts to fix it because I'm planning on selling it because I haven't driven it since the last video I did when I did the wide arms. So I have new drive shafts. I have new bulkheads because I broke that. I have a new chassis because I broke the chassis on it. So I have some work to do on it, and I do plan on selling it. Maybe I would get this to do a test video after I sell the Max. I don't know. Need to find out. Luke Newcomb says, I'll stick with my Mad Van. I don't blame you, man. The Mad Van, for its price, under $250, that thing is a world of fun, I'll tell you. It handles really, really fun. RC Amigos, what's up, buddy? Hoss has an updated look. I just lost it. Somebody said of a Stampede. I've never had a 4x4 Stampede, so maybe you guys know if this kind of has that Stampede look. We'll get in there and look at it. So, all right, so let's do that. I'm going to keep reading some of the comments here. We're going to look at the Hoss. But yeah, okay, Luke Nukem, I have Traxxas, Losi, Kyosho, Tamiya. Yeah, so I'm in that boat. I have Traxxas. I have about 6 Traxxas. Well, I have 3 Stampede 2-wheel drives. I have 2 Slashes, so that's 5. I have the Max, so that's 6, and I have the drag cars, so that's 7 Traxxas that I have. I have Losis. I have Armas. I have a ton of Axial stuff. Tamiya, Kyosho, RGT. I'm trying to see what else I got up there. More. Oh, Sen Racing. So I love the hobby first and foremost before I get into brands. And I think that there's certain things like that Traxxas 2-wheel drive was one of my favorite 2-wheel drive monster trucks that came out, especially when they had the branding for the Gravedigger, Son of a Digger. So I have the Gravedigger, I have Son of a Digger, which I just had Ryan Anderson sign at Digger's Dungeon this past weekend. And then I have the 30th anniversary edition one. And I have, so I have 8. So I have a Bigfoot. It's still in the box. I'm keeping it that way for now. It's in the box, original number 1 Bigfoot Traxxas. All right. Airborne RC says, I already bought a Granite and now the Hoss is tempting me. You know, I hear you. I just got the Big Rock and I paid $329 and I'm super excited about it coming. That this isn't doing a whole lot for me because of the price. But maybe you guys can convince me that it's worth it. The radio's going to be better. It's got some of the VXL stuff, you know. I got to get back to the top of the page here. It looks fast. It looks monster truck. I do like that about it. I'm not the big speed guy, so like the 60 miles an hour thing doesn't really mean anything to me. At about 50, I'm happy. 40s even, I'm usually pretty happy. For what I do with them, I don't rip them on dirt, just tearing them out, or on cement, long shots like this. You know, I'm pretty much in a small track jumping and not usually using full power anyway. So even when I took out the new Losi Tenacity laser nut, there was very few times I was actually full gun on it for that area. So yeah, the new one, it's a 540 XL VXL motor in here, which those things are pretty fast. I'll give them that. Like in that Bandit that I bought that I converted to the drag, it's really fast. All right, so Hey Dad's saying, I'm going to keep going to comments here since you guys are commenting. I don't want to neglect it. Not a fanboy of any company, but a buddy brought over the Max for you to try out. Been tempted to pull the trigger. He twisted 2 drive shafts, 20 minutes, and he did have the wide kit on it, though. Yeah, so mine was very durable. I said it was the most durable. I just don't like the way it handles. The wide kit did help. I probably need to do some suspension tuning, but I have so many cars that I already like that it's just like I need to start getting rid of some, and that's on the chopping block. All right. All Out RC says Traxxas needs to hire somebody else to do their body graphics. You know, it works in the market, I guess, they're in. I don't love them. Yeah. I like it when they do the stuff that's kind of branded, like the Fox body and that. But yeah, these type of graphics aren't my thing. Too much. RC Master, are they going for a Slash Stampede Rustler hybrid or something? That's kind of what it looks like. That's a good way of saying it, RC Master. That's what it looks like to me. We'll take the body off it here. Somebody gets what they're doing. Everything RC. I'm pretty far behind. Reefs RC's in the house. He says he loves all brands, but he's really liking the Kaiju right now. And I'll tell you what, guys. All RC brands are better when you put a Reefs RC servo in them. I can tell you that from personal experience. Those servos take it up a notch. That's what I'm putting in my EXB Creighton that I have sitting here. I have a Reefs Raw that's going to go into that. But I'm actually thinking about getting another Reefs to put into my that laser nut. I think that would be really awesome with a Reefs Raw on it. All right. So thanks for joining us, Reef. Earl RC's in the house. He's saying it does look identical now that he's looking at it to a Stampede 4x4. Big Papa says he ordered a laser nut. Very cool. His first low-C. I'll tell you what, I like the low-C 10 lineup a lot. So do I think it's built on a Rustler platform? It kind of looks like it. So let's get into this. All right, I keep stalling. I'll keep coming back to the comments. Link to it is asking. You guys are asking for. Here's another link to it so you can take a look at it. It's a 1/10 scale, and I've got the max pulled up so we can show you the size differences because I've already looked at that as well. So here's the motor that they've got. There's the 3500 motor, the cell, and that's pretty decent. It's got these sledgehammer 5.3 inch tall sledgehammers, so that's no joke as far as tires. Their drivetrain, this stuff's really good through here. These drive shafts, for plastic ones, I'll give them. They've got some pretty decent plastic drive shafts. I've actually replaced other ones, like when I had an ECX. I put some Traxxas slash ones on there. They did have good plastics, at least back in the day when I used to have my dad was running that ECX. So anyway, they've got this torque biasing center drive. So you got a metal drive shaft in the front. It's not a bad system. It works pretty well. I need to get to the one where you slide over this stuff. So here's their video, which is already played. It's really cool. I'm going to mute it. We're just going to skip through it. I don't want to go too much off it. But yeah, so there you saw the chassis. We paused it for a second. So it doesn't have the tall standoffs that they have with that molded body or chassis to the shock tower that the Max has, which I think is one of the best parts about the X-Max, is I love that thing is rigid, man. So these have like a plastic shock tower look. It does look to maybe be a blend of like a slash style Rustler, probably in that Rustler because of the clip-on body. I guess it would be in that vein. So if you guys have a Rustler and you know this look, you might know. It's still got that plastic snap-down battery tray. This is more like that would have been the Slash. So there's that. Versus, the ones from the X-Max and Max that clip in from the side. This kind of rotates and can go upward or down based on your battery size. I'm seeing that. All right. Who else is in here? RC Basher Boys joined us. I'm going to have to skip some of these. If I missed your comment, guys, post it again. 540 XL isn't 4S capable, ? I don't know that it isn't. I'm guessing it's the ESC. I don't know about the motor. So the Hoss is 30 millimeters longer, but not as wide. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so here we go. Here's a look at it. It's using their body mount system. Love it or hate it. I hate body clips, so I do like this system that they've invented. It did pop off a lot on the X-Max, but it didn't pop off for me as much on the Max, so I did like it. So it just seems to be based off of something in there. It's kind of its own thing, I guess. It's got these retainers here for the body, which they're showing the body reinforcements here, but it also looks like you got it retained on the side, which is nice. I usually break mine back here, but it looks like this bumper kind of ties in, so that's nice. This is a good thing, RC Amigos says. I wonder if most consumers can afford 3S batteries versus 4S lipos. And that is a consideration to take. So if you're buying this all out at a hobby shop, one of the things that you'd have to wonder is if you're starting all new, you have to get batteries, charger, car, all of that. So that's $70 you save on the Max, and the extra money you save getting a 3S instead of a 4S, you're at least $100 now, probably. So that's a good thought. That's definitely a good thought. It does look like a Truggy. I like that it sits low. It kind of reminds me of like a Granite or something, too, as far as the armor lineup would be. So they got the body reinforcements here. Got the waterproof electronics. I don't know about that fan, though. The fan scares me because the Max fans were so bad. They were pretty terrible. It started clicking right away and then just stopped working, lost fan blades. So unless they found a way to keep debris out of there. So it does have the TQI Traxxas link enabled, but you have to get it sold separately part if you want to use all this. I have it for mine. I hardly use it. But if you like that kind of thing, it is nice because their radios are so hard to use because you have a multi-function button and a steering trim. You don't have like a throttle trim. And you got to figure out how to go through the menus, and you need to basically keep a manual with you just to do some of the basics on the controllers, which can do a lot. They can do a lot. The app does make it easier to do some of that stuff if you want to turn off like their Traxxas control management stuff. All right, so Reefs has offered to do something, and I missed it. You guys are commenting too much, and I'm missing it. So Reef has offered to do something. Let's read it out loud if I can find it. There he is. Am I missing it? I'm trying to scroll through the comments here. Getting an email or a message. Is it related? No, that's RC Guy Garage. Lots of contacting. All right, so Metal Gear Servo ? Fresh squeezed RC seems real pricey for a car built from existing parts. Yeah, I mean, some of it's going to be existing. I can't tell how much is existing. Drive shafts are going to be... I don't know, has that chassis been used before? It's plastic, so it's not really... If it's a different length than the other ones, it's not very reusable. Fresh Squeeze thinks it's spare parts truck. Okay. My phone is buzzing. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. Thanks, James. Says, much love, guys. Happy to be listening. Tony, you're doing awesome things. Anyone mentioned CCxRC on my site when ordering gets free swag. Oh, very cool. Thanks, Reef. Pops in. If you guys order something and mention me, he says he'll give you some free swag. I might have to go order something now and get some free swag. All right, so we stalled for a second. The asking price, John Ganter, is $479. Thanks, James, for that. All right. So we're here. We're looking at torque biasing center drive. That's pretty cool. That's been seen in some of their other cars. It works well. They do put the power down. I'll give them that. So it's a VXL 3S ESC. So that's why you can't run 4S through it. This motor, it's 3,500 kV. It's 25% longer than a standard. Okay. I wonder if you could run a little bit more power through that motor if you got a different ESC. Has the TSM, and they saying monster size. TSM is great when you're first getting into stuff if you like that kind of thing. So here it's showing 2.75, almost 3 inches of ground clearance and a stable 11.6 inch wheelbase. All right, so what's the width base though? Because my stability issues with the Max weren't front to rear. They were side to side and rolling and flipping whenever I turned. Clipless body. So it's got lots of that stuff. Here's the details. This is what I wanted to see. It gives us a good look at the chassis here. It's a standard 2075 model servo. Says Net Cruiser, go order a Reefs. So here's a look at the chassis. So again, it does not have that bracing. So this is a good time to look at the Max when we're looking at it. The Max is pretty stout as well. Huge bumper system. 60 miles an hour as well. So they both go about the same speed. But look at this chassis bracing and these towers that they have. And so this is only $70 more. This is, if we go all the way to the bottom, I'll make you guys sick. It's not pulling up the pricing. But these are $549, I believe. So here is their chassis. Right? So a little bit different clip. A little bit more room in there. And very stout here. All of this kind of looks the same, though. It looks like they just changed out this with the guides here on the side. But it does have a different clip. See the motor specs. So it's the 2400 kV on this one, and the other one is a higher kV. Let's go back to the specs on this guy. So we'll look at that in a minute. But you can see it has that slash style looking chassis here. The way that these mount is different. J-Tree, yes, it has a max motor. It's a different kV though, so it's not apples to apples. It's not exact, and that may also be a reason it's a 3S. Because usually when you start going up in battery power, you go down in kV. So it may not actually handle it, but you don't need to. Honestly, it's already going to go 60 miles an hour like the Max was doing on 4S. So NetCruiser's saying it's the same as well, but let's see. Motor specs on this say, oh, 2400. I thought up there it said 30 something. I thought it was a 3500. All right, am I going crazy? So right here it says, oh, it was comparing it to a Valenian 3500. My bad. Same motor. Same motor. You see, guys, I don't know everything. Just talking too much. The word fanboy is supposed to be an insult too. General Hobbies. Those plastic drive shafts will break as soon as you take it out of the box. Mine didn't break. If you extend them a little bit, if you do a wide kit, then you start getting towards that break point. They almost need to offer a second set of plastic ones that are available, because when you stretch them out and you get less bite of the cage that it inserts into, that's when you run into some of that breakage problem. But if they could keep it captured more, I think they would be okay. All right, so you want to see the Rustler chassis next to this, people are asking for. So let's go to, this is actually good. So we'll go to their Traxxas site, and we'll look at their showroom too. Whoop, their page is down. I encountered a big error. Let's go to their model showroom. And that's breaking down too. We've broke the internet, people. Is anybody else working? Is the Traxxas site working for you guys? All right, so let's see. Traxxas Rustler 4x4. See if we can get to that page. Come on. Okay. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so it looks more similar to this with this chassis. With the shock towers, this body, this battery clip here. Let's see if we can see the Hoss. Well, we can't. They don't have that top-down view of it. But it looks similar here. That's the same. The way that these are made look the same or similar. It looks more based off of that build. All right, so we broke their website. We didn't really, but they're doing something. Now, okay, so here's a question I have, guys. Speaking of Traxxas and their website and all that, what do you guys think is going to happen with all the Proline bodies now that Proline is with Horizon Hobby? And who do you think it will be if something changes in that relationship? Do you think it'll be Traxxas not wanting them to use their, name like made for X-Max or that anymore? If there's something, or do you think it'll be like Horizon, like, well, we're not going to make bodies for you guys anymore? I have questions. I mean, these are conspiracies. These are things that I do wonder. So.
Warning! Alien approaching! Warning! Biophysical experiments extremely dangerous to Earth people!
So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Proline will be made in China, JJ Davis says. I don't think so. Part of what Horizon liked about what Proline was doing is that they were made in the U.S. and that they can not have to rely on stuff being made overseas and shipped. So there's some stability there. That's nice. Net Cruiser, yeah, it's similar, but not this. It's unique, but not the exact same. They didn't take one and just stick it on the other. It's like it used that basic idea and built off it. I don't know if that's good or bad for it. If you think about people that love the Rustler versus people that love the X-Max, I mean, the X-Max is one of those trucks that's like, you want a small version of it. The Rustler, lengthening it a little bit, putting bigger tires on it, is that something people are wanting? Or were they having issues with the diffs and stuff with the Rustler? I remember in the beginning, Tebow was having some issues with his Rustler, I think, out in Colorado. But so here's the real question, I guess, that I get at. Is this $479 of a truck? Or would you rather just get this one for $549? That's stout. The shocks. I mean, the shocks on this are massive. So here's the things you're subtracting. Big shocks. 4S ESC. Crazy chassis. It seems like more than $70 worth of stuff removed from this one. I mean, these are small, like, slash style, stampede style shocks, which honestly might actually absorb better. The other ones are a bit stiff. Do I have anybody that asks these questions with me, or am I alone in thinking this and I'm crazy? Although I think the $550 for the Max is a little on the high side as well. I mean, if the Max could come down into this range and this could drop, even if it went to like 500 and then this went down to 400 or 420. I'm not the one setting their pricing, but I don't know. It's just when you're running 3S against another 3S that's $150 cheaper, it's questionable. Are these metal shocks? Does anyone know, are these metal shocks? So I'm just jumping on and asking questions. That's what we do here. We ask questions. Suspension, oil-filled Ultra shocks. So that doesn't tell me that they are going to be metal. They have clips as well. They're not threaded shock bodies. So where did your $70 go? Just the shocks alone to upgrade would cost you $70. Then you remove the big chassis, you remove the better ESC. So the Rustler is 420, 4x4. And that runs, it's a smaller truck, smaller motor. It's the 3500. Okay. Shocks look about the same in this. So either they're giving us a really good deal on the Max because they're giving us, $50 worth of upgrades over this into the new one, but then that doesn't translate into the $549 on the next one. So maybe they're just giving us a really good deal on the Max and we didn't know it. Because the price difference between this and the other seem more, I guess, believable. Bigger tires, bigger motor. Same kind of shocks, I guess. Net Cruiser. It says, haha, it's their way to make you think the Max is a better value. Oh, Green Frog is guessing the Max will go up in price like the E-Revo did when the Max came out. RC Show Off says it's a lot of money for so much plastic. I am one that doesn't mind the plastic. I think plastic is lightweight, which makes it more durable in a couple ways because it's not as heavy when it comes down and hits. It flexes. There's a lot of good things about plastic. And the way that they design it, especially, I will give Traxxas a lot of credit for this design right here. This is so durable. It's a super durable chassis setup for plastic. This is the Max, though. These, have done pretty well in the Slashes as well, and the Rustlers and all that style. So, I don't know. I don't hate it. My main question is the money. I love monster trucks, and these, they make it look like it just tears it up. It dips like the Max did, or the X-Max. So maybe the shocks are, proportioned really well for this truck. Got some good lean to it. Let's watch a little bit of that video. I don't think we stopped it right at the chassis. I did watch it by myself, and when they come off this table, that's some good driving right there. That little brake check to pop that rear end up off the table is really nice. Okay, that was good stop and didn't roll. They've got some nice loose dirt. Whoever they get to drive for their videos always does so good. Oh, nice bunny hop. Oh, you know what? I got to watch that again. They should do that off the stairs. That's nice. That's just real nice. Yep. That makes it almost worth buying right there. I know you can do this. I make videos, so it's just like do it again, do it again, do it again until you land it. So who knows how many takes it took them, but it comes off as being just some really good driving. Michael Bay. Nice flare there. Oh, nice recovery. Good use of a drone shot. That's what I do with my Macs all the time. I wouldn't have ended with that. Oh, they're not. They're going to use their stability control. Still. I had to use that button so much on the Macs. Yeah, that's a cool move. Okay. They've got me sold on that move. You know what would be really cool is to set into like a half pipe using that. Do a little kick and drop in, nose down. That'd be so rad. Let's let Kevin Talbot do it. I bet he can do it. He's got a nice skate park. Nice move. All right, Hoss. I see you. That was good driving. RC Show Off says Bunny Hop is awesome. Yeah. There's more of a fish flick than a bunny hop. BMX for life. Okay, NetCruiser likes the orange and black Tiger look. I prefer the orange one, for sure. Comes off as a fun day out. Yeah, it does. Lots of editing, Luke Nukem. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of editing right there. Really good filmmaking too. They're you can tell it was shot on a high-end camera, and yeah, it's got lots of production value. Real RC says general prices have been going up on every brand due to the insanely high demand for it during the whole COVID crisis. Oh yeah, when demand goes up, price goes up. And just the manufacturing costs have gone up just because of keeping things clean, the reduced workforce, all of that kind of plays into it. Steve Barnett says it looks like the wrestler in the Max had a baby. I do agree. J.O. says he doesn't dislike the body. There you go. I mean, I don't hate it. I'm not a hater. Not a hater. Again, if it were on the shelf today and I happened to be in the store, would I walk away with it? Probably. I would want to test it. I'm one of those guys that I just want to test them all. I want to try them all. I just wish I wouldn't break them so they were easier to sell. But I typically end up breaking them. So it does have adjustable turnbuckles. Going through, looking at some of the details of it here. The let's see if it gives us any details. High torque, waterproof servo. Yes, they're 2075. Pretty typical servo. Makes it nice and easy. 5-channel receiver with a failsafe. So there's some money there. For it's the VXL3S with a fan. I don't know. I like things that work where I don't need fans. Like, that's just me. Like, when I can gear a system right so that I can use like a heat sink and let that do the work, fans are just a headache. Especially the ones that come in a RTR. That's just me. I know. Fixed gear adapter. Okay, so that takes the guesswork out of your gear mesh. So you definitely, basically you line things up based on what gear or tooth you're running. So that makes it nice. Fans are lifesavers in Arizona. Fans are only a headache when bashing, which is what I primarily do. Maskmaster. You've seen. Net Cruiser. I would agree with you here. In his opinion, for that price, it needed aluminum threaded shocks. The rest seems okay for the money if it had better shocks. For a Traxxas, yes. At that price. They definitely charge a premium. But that's like anything, right? Like Oakley sunglasses or electric or, whatever. Certain companies charge a premium and it makes people want them because that's the one to have. So, and it's not their price that I question as much as their price compared to their other vehicles' prices is what I question. Like, this compared to the Max, where the Max seems to offer more for just a little bit more cost. So, again, like I was saying, well, maybe it just means that the Max is the better deal. But for this price, people were complaining about the laser nut price and telling me that it was too expensive. And that comes with threaded shocks, aluminum chassis braces. It's a 4S capable motor system. It's got a cage. It's licensed. It has big Boss wheels on it and a fifth wheel. So, I mean, get into that pricing even a little bit. What you get for your money with the Laser Nut by Losi, which is a race vehicle, race-inspired vehicle, compared to this. So, the Pede 4x4 and Max are too close in size. The size of it doesn't make sense, JJ Davis. That's the other question mark is, you do have your Stampede 4x4. You do have your Max. You have your Rustler. You have your E-Revo. Where does this fit in the lineup? That's where it does, but the same thing could be said, JJ Davis, about the Arma 3S lineup. And now, granted, you've got the Granite, you've got the Big Rock, but then you've got the Sentin, and they're all playing off the same chassis. I guess there's not as many monster trucks that fit in that line. But then they come out with the 4S Creighton, which is just a little bit more than the... So there's other companies that have them close in size. Big Rig 313-480 exclamation points, no question mark. I said it with as a question. I said it wrong. I should have said 480. By the way, did you see Horizon acquired Proline? I did. And that was the first thing that we quickly talked about. And I did ask some people, and I didn't hear, but do you think there will be any ramifications for the amount of bodies that were made by Proline that were Traxxas specific, like the monster truck bodies that they say are for the Stampede or for the, made to fit the X-Max? They've got that Jeep that's made for the X-Max. They've got several things, the indestructible bodies, and then they've got the stuff that goes with the drag. Now that all fits. And there's another question I have is, since Proline is doing so much with the drag scene, will we see them? They've got the wheels, they've got the tires. Will Losi take one of their two-wheel drive Tenacities and make a Tenacity no prep drag car with the Proline wheels and body? They've already got the chassis and the car running. All they need is the wheels, and so that's a question mark. That's one of the things that's got the alien stuff going in my head.
Warning, alien approaching. Warning, biophysical experiments extremely dangerous to Earth people.
Cody's right. That thing will sell as soon as it's in stock at the local hobby shops, and it sells to a lot of people that just have to have everything. And it sells to, there's a huge Traxxas fan base. So the people don't mind spending the money. I question it all the time for every rig. I like to say, well, if I pit this against something else that's the same price, am I getting my value out of it? And until I drive it, I don't really know. because just being plastic doesn't mean anything. But there are certain niceties that you do start to expect when you spend over $400 for a car. And one of those for me is metal shocks, or at least threaded shocks. So, threaded shock bodies. So this will hold a 3S battery for sure with their innovative hold down. This is their waterproof receiver box. Here they're showing their steering with integrated servo saver. Okay. That's nice. Just want to make sure we touch on some of the things before we move on. Dual crank design, integrated servo saver. They're talking about that there. That's okay. I don't mind the integrated servo savers. I prefer the ones right on the servo because then I can choose how it works and how much or not to use it a little bit easier. But yeah. All right. So what are you guys saying here? What are we thinking about Proline? Basshurt says it kind of looks like a Stampede on steroids. Enforced Raccoon. This is exactly what I was looking for in a truck. There you go. So what does this Enforced Raccoon offer you that the Max didn't? Or what did the Max offer too much of that you didn't want it and you were waiting for this one for $7 less? Dominic Kaczynski says he's a Traxxas fan. There you go, man. Is the dirt track going to be remade? It is. We have to wait for it to stop raining here because ever since they put it in, like last time, it hasn't stopped raining. And so we can't drive anywhere near the backyard right now without getting stuff stuck. And I'm not renting a skid steer again on tracks. It tore up the yard going back and forth. But my buddy his name's Buddy, has a tractor with a front end loader. But right now you just can't get back there. But it will be remade. It'll be a little bit different. We're going to have to move some stuff to different parts of the yard, but I've got some clearances to do that. And he left us most of what we had as far as dirt goes, so I'm good to go there. Raquel says Horizon should discontinue the brute bodies that they made for Traxxas vehicles and the Proline X-Max wheels to get back at Traxxas for what they did to Arma. I'm not one to say go after each other. I'm one to say let's come together if you could. If they could come together, that would be the ideal because it's better for everybody in the hobby. So that's my thoughts. I would love it if they could say, hey, but I don't know that's going to happen. But I also don't know who it'll be that says no to the other. It might be Traxxas saying, don't put our name on it. And then if they can't do that, then it's hard to tell people who it's for and what it's for and all of that. It gets, to be troublesome. RC Guy Garage says, get off my live stream, guys. Stay away from my truck. You're going to call them and see about getting one of these? Get on with the Traxxas support and see what they can do for you here. RC Guy Garage was on this morning when all of it was going down with the Proline stuff. It's crazy. General hobbies, but we talking about humans. Yeah, I know, man. All right, guys, all in the house. Enforced Raccoon's back says, my Stampede 4x4 would always break, but when it was going, it was a fun truck when it wasn't broken. Yeah, I think that this will do better than that lineup. It better for the price that it costs. It better be better than the Stampede 4x4. But I did like the 4x4 lineup, and yeah, I mean, the Max, I said it was probably the toughest truck that was built in 2019. Super durable. I personally would have rather driven my Stampedes and stuff. I didn't like the way that it handled. It didn't handle like a small Max to me. The X-Max. The X-Max handled so well that when I got the Max, I was kind of underwhelmed by how it handled. put the wide kit on, helped. Then I broke drive shafts, and I wasn't willing to drop another $100. I was already in $640 into that truck, and I was gonna be in it another $740 for it. I should have just bought an X-Max, but whatever. Oh, RC Amigos need a berm. Yeah, man, I used to have one. Berms take a lot of dirt, or a wall and dirt. That's what I did last time. I'm hoping. So what I'm hoping is that Proline kind of still runs a little bit independent and can work with multiple brands, and they can sell stuff that consumers want. That's my goal, not my goal, my hope. But I would love to see some new Arma bodies. Some new stuff for the Infraction, for the Limitless. If they could do some cool new one-off bodies for that, that'd be awesome. Sean's RC Adventure, I agree. I just don't know how deep the wounds are. Or this, yeah. I don't know how deep it runs. Traxxas could have tried to acquire Proline. Don't blame Horizon for thinking big, Raquel says. All right, I'll give you that. There's truth. There's a lot of truth to that. Izzy Froggies, do you think Proline will do a kit RTR collaboration with Losi if they do no prep car? I honestly don't know. All this dropped on my plate today, this morning when I woke up. So I did wake up a little late. And I don't know. I'm the one putting it out there that there's the stuff now that they need to finish up. Everybody's pretty much got almost a no prep car if they've got a 2-wheel drive short course truck. It's a pretty simple swap, so be cool. But that's a good question, AZ Froggies. It would be cool to do it Proline, Low-C branded, like teamwork collaboration would be really cool. Jeremias says, what do you think of the full-size trails at the Badlands Off-Road Park? They were awesome. I want to spend like a couple days straight there with nothing else to do but off-road. Okay, now the questions are starting to move. Steve Barnett, what would you rather have? The Max, a.k.a. the tank, or the monster truck version of the Rustler? Well, you know, I didn't love the Max, even though it was a tank. I would rather have a car that performed awesome and needed repairs every once in a while, that just handled really good and was fun to drive. Like, I had no control over the Max. The Max was just all power, wheelies. I mean, it was just, and then it would overheat because of the 4S, and it would do this cutoff all the time. And it's probably because the fans kept breaking on the ESC. So it was a little bit frustrating, the car for me. I try and let other people drive it and go into that like half power mode, and it's just like, all right, just turn it off and on again and it'll be fine. But it was only fine for like a couple more, 2 or 3 more jumps, and I'd do it again. So I had like, I didn't love it. It was a tank, but it was frustrating to me with the fans breaking and the lights chopping through the wires because of the way the body mounted and the wires were routed and all that. So, you know, your $70 light kit or whatever it cost. So I actually paid $629, I think, for mine because it had the light kit, which got destroyed on the second run, I think. So I would probably actually like this one better. I think the softer, smaller shocks will actually do better as far as soaking up and being more of a plush suspension. Moses, what's the tips for people getting into the more bigger and expensive models? We'll just save up and do it, basically. They handle a lot the same. I mean, you can get a $300 car that goes 50 miles per hour, so it's not necessarily a matter of handling and how fast you can go. It's how much more durable kind of they get, and a lot of times they get bigger. So you're handling something that is a little bit bigger, and that can be a little bit more unwieldy in the air, and they can brake more or bend or whatever. But I would start small and start building up from there. I started with small stuff and 2x2 Stampede, low C10, SCTE, and then from there, Yeti, broke that thing. It was one of the things where it's a bigger car that I wasn't ready for and know how to drive. So pick wisely. UDRs and stuff like that. Super Baja Race, super cool, but they are solid axle, which that's a little bit different of a handling, especially if you're looking to bash. Breakability wise, that can definitely take into account. Even like the solid axle monster trucks, like the SMT 10s on the chair behind me. Just a different animal. So know what you're getting into. All right, where are we at now? That wasn't the one. It was this one. We'll come back to that one. Gregory asked, do you think it's worth to upgrade from an Armored Granite 4x4 BLX version 2 to a version 3? If you've got one, no. Nope, probably not. I'd maybe upgrade the controller, transmitter, but I don't think that it's necessary. You could do some part upgrades for a lot cheaper than the whole car. Paul Clancy, yeah, just get some V3 parts from Jenny's down the road or order them. You won't need that many to take the V2 up to the V3. The main thing is going to be the controller's better. It's a lot better. What's going on, Edward? All right, so I had pulled some of these up here on accident, and then I went to click on one, and everything shifted. Rustler 4x4 is one of the better handling Traxxas trucks. The Hoss has potential for being a high-performance monster truck. Well, there we go. So that's what I want to hear. I think probably taking the Rustler up to a monster truck versus trying to bring the X-Max down in size and scale in some ways makes sense. Everything RC. This would be something I kind of would expect. Traxxas really needs to make an updated on-road car to compete with the Infraction and Limitless. I would expect that. I'm curious, too, though, if Arma will come out with something to compete with the on-road lineup of the other Traxxas, smaller ones that they have. I'm blanking on the name of it. It was like the 4GTO. What are those called? 4GT. The touring car that they have. The Fortec? Is that what it is? And I wonder if Armour would come out with something that would be smaller scale. That'd be cool. Fortec. Okay, you guys are all saying it. Fortec 2.0. I've got one there. I'm looking at it, and I can't think of the name. So I actually have 8 Traxxas cars. I forgot that I have the Jimmy Johnson Fortec. Right there, you can see the flame paint job on it, the 24. So that's 8 Traxxas that I have. So I don't, hate Traxxas by any means. The Max was the first one that I questioned. I mean, I was really excited about it. I questioned the pricing in the market, and then this one being where it is, it's like a 3S version of something underneath that, where it seems like they stripped quite a bit without stripping as much of the price off of it. Is my question mark. But again, I would love to see it run. I would love to drive one and see for myself. That's how I typically am. So I will probably get one of these to bash and try. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't. It's not cost inhibitive for me in any way. I just like to see my value in the cars. So like when I look at the Losi DB Pro, which is 430, the Tenacity DB Pro, and then I look at the 479 of the Laser Nut, I want to break down where that money difference is, right? So it's a little bit bigger, and you get an extra wheel. You don't get a wing, but that price difference between the DB Pro and the Laser Nut makes more sense to me than the Max down to this because of how many changes there are. But I guess what you guys are saying is I should be looking at the price of the Rustler and seeing what more is added to it. That makes it 479 instead of 420. But I honestly think the 420 for Rustler is a little bit expensive. Steve OD, yes, a new Traxxas Hoss. Sean, all right, man. Get to work. I need to get back to work too. My lunch break is, I'm about 10 minutes over here. So I'm going to have to work a little extra tonight. That is one nice thing about working from home is I'll just work a little extra. I usually work extra every day anyway, so I'm all right there. Enforced Raccoon, do I think the Hoss will be better than the Max? I kind of do. Even though it's kind of less built, I think that's going to work for it. I honestly do. And based on that video, I also think so as well. It looks more up my alley for handling than the Max. So, yeah. Moonman says, I want a nut. Then, dude, that thing was one of my favorite first runs of a vehicle in a long time. Yeah. I mean, my X-Max was one that was like that as well, where it's just like, whoa. And then even the Yeti was way back in the day, the Axial Yeti. I'm trying to think of what else would be up there with that for a first run. I really like the Creighton 4S first run. But I didn't take it to the trails. Like, the car impressed me, but it wasn't like that epic run out at Ipswich. It was just kind of like a backyard thing. But I have the EXB here. I'm hoping that'll wow me. First run. I've got a couple things I have to build. I have the J Concepts regulator chassis, so I've got to build the Clodbuster axles, and that's gonna be a different, like, yay fun kind of thing for me. I love the Clodbuster handling and all of that, so I'm super excited about doing that one. But the EXB is, I'm finally, after 3 years of saying it, got a 6S Creighton, and I'm super stoked about that. So I have, for that, the Castle Creations Mamba 8S, Mamba Monster X 8S, whatever ESC that is, censored, and I have the Holmes Hobbies Puller Pro motor for it, and it's all been here. Cody posted a picture of his. I had just gotten mine in the mail the day before he posted that picture. I haven't shown it yet. I was waiting to get the ESC, but I've got that. I'm going to be stealing the Reef RC out of my that I had in my rock bouncer, out of that for now, and putting it in there, and that's the raw, because it's insane. More 12th 2020 little more 124th scale stuff is coming to the channel. I've got to do some upgrade stuff. I got the Hot Racing Shocks. Finally, these things are so hard to find. And I don't know when the Hoss will be released. We just kind of were hearing about it. I'd seen a little screenshot of a picture, and I went and looked up the Hoss stuff here on their trademark, basically, request registration, which talks about, Traxxas applying for it and all of that. So it had some, application in here. It had their drawing, which is just their name is what they're trademarking. Looks like it's, Times New Roman almost. I mean, it's probably not. That's what it looks like. It's a trademark in the name. Cody says more bomber parts came. That's awesome, dude. So that's it. I mean, I just wanted to get a quick look at it. I want to talk to you guys through it. I wanted to ask questions because that's what I like to do. That's my job. Video producer is to ask questions. JJ Davis is asking a question. What's the worst car truck you drove? The worst ever RC that I owned was the HPI Traxxas. No, that would be a weird car. It was the HPI Flux Sport numbers 4 things with the Porsche body that you couldn't drive for more than 5 feet without locking up the steering. I mean, the smallest piece of sand could lock up the steering in that car because of the way that they set up their bell crank steering. Awful. Worst car. One of the first ones I sold. After that, the G-Made Sawback, I really hated that thing. I still have it here. It's actually set over to the side to be sold. I tried to make it into something a little different and better. Still hated it. I liked the look of it, but I hated it. J.O. says he loves building clods. I know, I got to get to building the axles. Do you like the Arma Sentin 3S? Yes, I have 2 of them, and I will probably buy 2 more. So that we can have like friends and whoever come over and race them with us. Just have them around. So Dominic, when are they coming back for the 24 scales? They should be soon. Hopefully I'll have something this weekend, by this weekend. Do I think, since Proline is now Horizon, do you think there won't be aftermarket body for the TRX6? I have no idea. No idea. Can't speak to that. Don't really have any affiliation there to know. No insider info. Sorry. Same with when the Hoss will be released. Don't have a clue. I'm kind of with you guys in the boat on that one. Here's your value, the trade-up program. RC Amigos. All Clancy Loser are best, in my opinion. 5T, my all. I do like Losi's. The first one I had forever. I gave away. And that thing was running awesome. Tekin motor in it. Nice Spectrum. Not Spectrum. Savox servo. But it just always worked. It just ran hard. Really hard. And just kept running. And then I chose to upgrade the motor because I wanted to keep up with the guys at the track. Cody, can I put 5 things I hate about the bomber on RC Conspiracy? Sure, man. We can, people can discuss it. We can say what we like about it or disagree with you or agree with you. I particularly like the car, but, there's still things to not like. I don't like the little screws that they use to hold the shocks in. They're like a grub screw pin. Not a fan of that. I'd rather use a regular bolt and nut, but... You know what would be cool? Raquel says, Traxxas to make something like the Ripsaw luxury tank with their deep tracks. That would be different. Jeff, it is not just a 3S Max. It kind of looks like it is, but it's more like a Rustler 4x4 / Stampede. The chassis is way different. So we were just kind of looking at this. We had several of them up here. So that's the Max chassis. You can see it's like the chassis goes right up into these huge, bulky shock towers with massive shocks, aluminum shocks. It uses the same kind of capture here for the body, but it doesn't have the same chassis at all. So it actually looks a lot closer to the Rustler chassis, which is seen here. Hoss. And if like the drive shafts are accessible right from the top or what, like they are here, I'm guessing they are. They just don't give us that good angle of how this is set up. But I'm guessing right on the other side of this battery tray is the drive shaft running right through here. So it's not underneath and kind of buried, which is I think how they do it with the Max is like the bigger Max. Which is run a little bit different too here, the way they do the gear. Which, again, so that all is question marks on the pricing being so different. Or not different enough. So this goes right to here and direct. But that other one has that, like, cush drive thing going on. Go to the chassis section of the Traxxas page. All right, so I'm at the Hoss page. Oh, studio and chassis. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Raquel. That's awesome. So it looks just like a longer version of the Rustler. They moved this electronics tray here to sit up front, but it looks very similar. They did put the servo here in the middle. So a couple little changes in that design where I think the servo on this one's buried underneath here. Let's see if they do the same pictures. But it's not loading. And their site, I'm afraid to refresh it because... yeah, it's tucked underneath all this. If I reload it, I'm afraid that it won't reload. Let me just try and go to their page. See if it's working again. Okay, we're working again. So we can refresh that. Oh, it already refreshed itself. And it doesn't show anyway. So yeah, it's it looks more like a Rustler, but it's gonna be different than the Rustler, just more monster truck like than the Rustler. So I think they'll keep the Rustler around. It's been around forever. This is a little bit longer than the Rustler. It's just a little bit different build on the kind of same idea. So using probably some same parts, but then adding a few new things that are a little bit longer, maybe longer drive shafts, stuff like that. Am I still going to RC Drift? Mark asks. I don't know. I need to get back out. I agree with Riff Rafts. I like the lower center of gravity as well of this than the Max. Looks almost like a Stampede 4x4. Right. Dominic, yes, electricity's fixed. Got a fan blowing. AC is on. It came on like 2 days after. So this is the question. I haste tenacity. I has tenacity. That's it. Why a monster truck? The Max will probably just overshadow the Hoss. That's the question mark. For just that little bit more, getting the 4S, the really beefy shock towers, aluminum threaded shocks, like big bore ones, why not just get a Max. It does have plastic uppers, whereas this is going to give you the adjustable turnbuckles and stuff like that you don't get here with your plastic upper arms and lower arms. So there is that. That's changed. That's a difference that we haven't pointed out yet. I think it's going to be kind of a little bit lighter. I think it's going to handle better. I think that's why people will like it. If there's reviews out saying that this one handles better than the Max, which I don't know that it will, I'm just kind of suspecting that the smaller shocks might actually do it good. But yeah. Which will be the boss, Max versus Hoss? I like that, RC Master. That's good. JJ Davis, surprised you didn't like the Max more. I think it drives very similar to the X Max. It was all right in loose dirt. If I had really loose dirt, it was okay. Anywhere else where there was traction, it was awful. So, is bouncier. I just thought that the Max handled better. I could hit the brake and whip it around, and it would soak into the grass even, and then just tear up the grass and go. If you try to do anything with a hard brake and turn with the Max, it just rolls over if you're not in loose dirt. So that's my main beef with it. Too much power. I had a 6S Max, X Max, and I thought it was fine. Everybody wanted more power. I never had to replace my electronics or very many parts in general. I cracked the wheels off a Big Air. I snapped a couple arms doing flips and stuff like that, but never had to replace the electronics in it. And, I never took it apart really, except one time to replace a ring and pinion on a diff when a kid drove mine into my house and it chewed up, so it was clicking, which was really actually very easy to work on. So that was awesome about the Max as well, or X Max. Now it's hard for me to say X Max, but so yeah, I love that truck. And I sold it thinking I would eventually get the 8S, but I just keep watching people be like, the first thing you do when you buy the 8S Max is buy new electronics because you're going to burn those up. And I'm thinking, well, then apparently they can't handle 8S like they're trying to say they can if everybody keeps killing them. So anyway, I still had the original gears. I didn't have those like super beefed up ones that they did for going 8S. I had the original 6S ones, and that truck was just awesome. It was enough power for everything I needed to do. So yeah. But I just feel like the Max, it just is too wheelie happy and gets side wheels and rolls, and it's hard to control in the air. It's just because it has so much power. I just have other cars that I like better. I liked the Max better on 4S or on 3S than I did on 4S. It felt more suited to it. But some people just want to go balls to the wall because they drive around on flat ground all the time or on like baseball diamonds, and they'll, do donuts in the dirt and whatever. I mean, that more to them for that. That's just not how I drive. I'm usually jumping and jump, hit jumps, turn, go back, and I just bash him. And the cutting off all the time too. If you're on 4S, it just overheated on me. The fan's breaking. It was not a good experience. And so at this point, I'm like, I got the wide kit. I'd paid $629 for it because I had the light kit. Lights busted. 2 trip runs in. The battery tray wouldn't fit my batteries that were 4S, so I had to break the thing out, buy a little Velcro system for it. And then chassis cracked a little bit, and now I've got bulkheads cracked, and then the wide kit made me bust the drive shafts, and I'm just like, I'm not putting more money into it. I'm fixing all the broken parts, cleaning it. The body is absolutely trashed. So I might it might be better selling it without a body after I clean it up, so that people won't know how bad I beat it up. But yeah. Here we go. So here we go. Not going to lie. He has the Traxxas Telluride 4x4 VXL running 18-tooth pinion. Hobby Wing Max 10 3300 kV motor. And it's the most durable truck in your fleet. That's awesome, dude. I've heard that about the Telluride being super durable. Moonman. So that's what it is. That's what it comes down to for me. Overpowered stuff just seems like a marketing gimmick. They want to have that mile per hour number, and that so many people want, because and a lot of times people buy that, they do that speed, they crash it into a curb, and then they're done with the hobby. They don't want to spend the money to fix stuff. And so it's actually not awesome for the hobby in some ways. But yeah. JP Slayer, how much for the Max as is? I got a whole new chassis, bulkheads. I've got new drive shafts. I've got the wide kit on it. I'm probably going to sell it for like $300. Now I say all of that, and then I throw my cars off of the Send It ramp. So, but if they're going 60 and going off a Send It ramp, that's a whole big difference. But I'm not into the speed gimmick. I like the power for if I'm getting crazy in the air, I like to be able to pull out of it. So that's it. I like being able to fix bad air, but I don't want too much where I can't control it then in the air. It's a fine balance for me. But yeah. If you guys, everybody's saying they want that. If you guys are interested, Facebook message me. We can work something out. I mean, it definitely needs work though. And the 300 is as is. If I fix it up, I'm probably going to sell it for more. But that's me not having to put the time into it. I mean, I spent 70 or more bucks on just the parts that I have sitting here. So, whoever asks first has the first right of refusal, and then you guys can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I need to go because I need to get back to work. I am now 30 minutes past when I'm supposed to be back. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for just kind of chatting through all this junk with me. And I think it's cool. I think, new RCs, regardless, it's good for the hobby. I love seeing that they've gone and done something new. They've brought a new model to the market. So Traxxas, thank you for doing that. My banter about the pricing and all that is, I know that Traxxas prices, that's what I'm trying to say. I said Praxis instead of Traxxas prices. I know they price theirs. It's always a little bit above everybody else. I also think that there's quality that they have that's, it's up there. So they have earned the right to ask more money for their stuff. My question mark is between the different lineups of Traxxas, not necessarily them versus other people. Although that is a factor that somebody's going to weigh in when they go into the store. But I'm not saying what that they should start at. But I think that the smaller shocks are going to be better for this truck. I wish that they'd have taken more money off of the cost from the Max for the things that they did take away from it. But I also see where they're comparing it to their Rustler, which is already at $420. But if it's really just a monster truck Rustler, does it need to be $50 more? The 3S lineup of Arma, other than the Big Rock, which was like 10 or 20 bucks more, are the same price. Buggy, Sentin, Granite, doesn't really matter. Some of them are a little bit bigger. Some probably cost a little bit more for them to make, but they're all one price. So if this is mainly using a lot of the same stuff as the Rustler, it does have that little bit bigger motor. But that and bigger tires or different tires. $50 seems a bit much and not enough down from the max. That's all I'm trying to say. But I still bet it rips pretty good. So there you go. That's my thought on it. It does look like a pretty cool truck. So I'll say that. And I do say again, thank you to Traxxas for putting something out. We've been waiting, and this is awesome to see new stuff coming out and to give people options. You know, it's going to be great to see people have options in the stores. So anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in and for being interested in this cool hobby. And we will catch you guys all later. Bye.